I probably filled up 2 legal pads full of notes during the trial, but the closings, I want to just listen. And that's what I did. But I wrote down 2 things in the closing. One was a statement by Ms. Ross that the evidence was overwhelming and powerful. And then I also wrote down what Ms. Beck said, that I'm required to set aside my emotions. That's the same thing that we tell jurors in what and would give them their job. I would. That's the way I have to approach this, and I did. Both of those statements are correct. I will now announce the verdict. In the state of Georgia versus Jose Antonio Ibarra, case SU 24CR0323, count 1, malice murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 3, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 4, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. I find the defendant guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault with intent to rape. I find the defendant guilty. Count 7, aggravated battery. I find the defendant guilty. Count 8, obstructing or hindering a 911 call. I find the defendant guilty. Count 9, tampering with evidence. I find the defendant guilty. Count 10, peeping Tom. I find the defendant guilty. I certainly will allow both sides to look at this if you want to do it. The next step is sentencing. I'm prepared to go forward with that now, or if either side suggests that you need a few minutes, an hour break or something to do that, then I'll certainly do that as well. Consider that.
So yeah, guilty on all charges, which he should be. Prayers go out to Laken Riley's family. This was a death that should not have happened, but because of the Biden-Harris administration, millions of undocumented illegal aliens have flooded our country, and we don't even know who they are. If you think about it, they say roughly anywhere from 11 to 20 million people have flooded our country in the last 4 years. If just 1% of them want to do our country harm, that's hundreds of thousands of people here only to devastate our country. I've never understood it, but that's because I love this place and I love my fellow citizen, and I believe in this amazing country where we can go after any dream we want. We can have children that we love, knowing that they will most likely have a better life than we did. And to think that the Democrat administration allowed all these people to come in just so they could put their finger on the scale for census and hopefully turn them into votes is about as evil as you can be. And that's why this country voted Donald J. Trump in as the 47th president with a massive mandate so he could fix what they broke in just under 4 years. Let's take a look at this. This is from ABC News. Laken Riley's last moments retraced during trial on Georgia nursing students. The last moments before Laken Riley was killed while out on a run on the University of Georgia's campus were shown in court on Tuesday, on the third day of the trial involving the murder of the 22-year-old nursing student. The Augusta University student was found dead in a wooded area on the Athens campus on February 22nd. Jose Ibarra, 26, has pleaded not guilty in May to charges of malice murder and felony murder in connection with her death, and he had waived his right to a jury trial. His case was then assigned to an Athens-Clarke County courtroom under Supreme Court Judge Patrick Haggard. On Wednesday, Ibarra was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Prosecutors said Riley refused to be our victim. Ibarra was an undocumented migrant, was charged with which became a rally cry for immigration reform from many conservatives, including President-elect Donald Trump. The timeline of Riley's last moment. On the morning of the murder at 8:55 a.m., Riley texted her mother, Allison Phillips, "Good morning. About to go for a run if you're free to talk," according to University of Georgia Police Sergeant Sophie Rabaud. Hopefully I said that right. One of the lead investigators in the case who testified on Tuesday about Riley's cell phone activity. Riley called her mother at 9:03, then started listening to music, she said. She was captured on a trail camera at 9:05, running with her iPhone in her left hand towards the intramural fields, Rabaud said. She runs out of view of the camera at 9:06 a.m. At 9:11, she called 911, she said. Witnesses previously testified that Riley initiated the call through the SOS application on her phone. The dispatcher was not able to speak with anyone before the call was hung up and called back twice with no answer, the witnesses said. At 9:24 a.m., Riley received a call from her mother that went unanswered. At 9:38, her mother texted, "Call me when you can." Rabaud and Riley's mother continued to try to reach Riley, but the calls went unanswered before texting at 9:58 a.m. "You're making me nervous, not answering when you're running. Are you okay?" Riley received subsequent calls from her mother and sister that went unanswered, Rabaud said. At 11:47 a.m., her mother texted, "Please call me. I'm worried sick about you." Subsequent calls, including from her stepfather, also went unanswered. Trail camera footage from later that morning shown in court captured Riley's roommates, Lily Steiner and Sophie Magna, on the trail searching for her. Riley's roommate reported her missing at 12:05 p.m., and a University of Georgia police officer found her body 65 feet off the trail at 12:38 p.m. Witnesses previously testified. Data from the Garmin, which she was wearing on her run, showed her heart stopped at 9:28 a.m. Witnesses previously testified. Riley had sustained significant blunt force trauma to her head, including 8 injuries to her left side of her skull and an injury just above her right temple, Dr. Michelle DeMarco, who conducted her autopsy, testified on Tuesday. One of the injuries was significant enough that it caused brain bleeding and could have been fatal, she said. There was also evidence of asphyxiation, though DeMarco said she was unable to categorize how that occurred. Her cause of death was determined to be combined effect blunt force trauma and asphyxia, DeMarco said. At the end of the day, this is a crime that should not have happened. And all we can do is thank God that Trump has this mandate, and we need to make sure these senators push his cabinet picks through so we can make a change. God bless you guys, and have a great day. See ya.